please check out anu-bookstore.com for book releases from ANU Publishing, such as Grasping the Root of Divine Power, Solutions for Dysfunctional Family Relationships, and Natural Hair for Young Women. At anu-bookstore.com, you'll find books on the Orisha tradition, African religion, divination, cross-cultural relationships, and many more forthcoming titles. At anu-bookstore.com, you'll find works that serve your journey to evolution and high vibratory sustainment. The website is anu-bookstore.com. And now back to our segment. ANU Nation presents live streaming video, where you will receive more lessons and more knowledge on spirituality and metaphysics. Check out ANU Nation's live video stream at www.youtube.com/ANU Nation and subscribe for the latest videos and information. Once again, the address for live video streaming is www.youtube.com/ANU Nation. See you there.
The Alpha Omega Store is a family-owned and operated premier online store serving as your one-stop shop for all of your spiritual and self-development needs. At the Alpha Omega Store, we offer you hard-to-find spiritual and ritual supplies, books, DVDs, personal development services, monthly specials, international shipping, and more. From spiritual supplies to business products and services, our mission is to provide you with the tools that will put you on your road to success. Purchase your quality products and services today at alphaomegastore.com. Bring yourself to a place of spiritual and holistic balance with exclusive life design services at osirislife.com. At Osiris Life, we offer our members exclusive one-on-one instruction, including 3 monthly service level options to choose from: monthly spiritual consultations, monthly podcasts and videos, custom tailored development plans, spiritual work done on your behalf, life coaching and support, and working solutions with real results. Awaken to your personal greatness and purchase your membership package today at osirislife.com. And now back to our segment.
Peace, everyone. Welcome to another segment of Thunderground Thursday. And you know where we're at, of course. We're on enlightenment and transformation. And of course, I am Yuya, Chief Yuya, and I am the conductor, usually, of this segment. I'm the conductor of this segment. But I want to thank you all. I see the phone lines are filling up. Anyone listening from the net, this is a live show. As you know, past couple shows, I'd say maybe past 14 days of shows, I've been doing them live and enjoying it. So I'm going to keep going with it. So, of course, you can call in. And I know some people are getting used to it. The call-in number, as you know, is 347-945-7680. Again, that's 347-945-7680. And all you have to do is hit the number 1. I know we already have some people called in. And, if you want to speak, you can hit the number 1. Or if you want to ask a question, or if you want to make a comment, or whatever it is, it's the number 1. Okay? So I know we already got some people on the line. And we had some hands up as soon as we started. And I'm sure some more hands will go up. So, as always, don't be shy. Don't, feel free. There's never, as far as calls, you never have to stay on topic. Okay. So don't worry about that too much. If you got something just burning and hankering in your heart that just needs to get out, feel free to share it. But in any event, again, as always, welcome to this experience, and just welcome to the Enlightenment and Transformation Network. I urge all of you to go to enlightenmentandtransformation.com, because we actually have blogs and things up there that are associated with the shows, which are pretty cool because it gives you added insight as to what the shows may have been about. I know sometimes when we're doing these segments, especially when I listen to Mastermind Monday or I listen to I Know Safo, I can hear the heaviness sometimes of the shows, and it's like, wow, sometimes sometimes they keep it cool and fun, and sometimes they go in and it gets heavy. And I know you don't catch everything first time around, so sometimes it's good to have like the blogs and stuff. That's why we do that, to show a different perspective, or to maybe elucidate certain things that you may not have caught when the first time around when you checked it out. So always go there and check out, see if there was a blog done on the show you might like or whatever, or if you want to put a comment on a show and share some insights, that's always cool. You could do that there, or you could do that on the YouTube videos, which people have been doing, which is cool too. And like I said, I always check those out. I always read them, just to see what's what, see who's talking about what. But yeah, so we're here. This new moon was something else, man. This last you guys know I don't cave in to astronomical events. A lot of people always ask me what's my perspective on this and that and that, and I always tell you, push through it and be the definer and the master and the architect of your own fate. Your destiny has already been pre-designed, so all you can really do is grasp that it's been pre-designed and you already pre-chose it. But your fate is something else, But not only through experience but through observation, this new moon was such an Oya energy, had such an Oya energy to it, because there was so much stripping going on. I just kept seeing like so many weekends or weak people being stripped away and removed. Just people who not holding down their part. Who not doing what they're supposed to do. Some of my youth, they had actually today they had a fight too, but they had some planned fights after school. One won, the other one lost. But the one who lost, he hadn't been training with me, and he came busted lip. Wow, but come on, you got to train me. Yeah, you the weak link. Your brother held down his position. He won his fight, and you got hammered out. And then there was some other things, from car accidents to all kind of craziness. But all of it was related to weak people, people leaving even. Had some people leave, even not people, a person, leave a situation that I had helped to create for some people. And, this individual was the weak link of the situation, so it was very interesting new moon this month. Just a lot of weekends being broken off, or weekends making their exodus and allowing for the right people to come into position, to come into place, so it was real cool in a way, experiencing that. But just sitting back, sometimes for me, I like to sit back and watch the divine orchestration, just to see how things are being put together, things are being designed, because it's never as you would design it. We could only wish to be so creative when it comes to orchestrating an experience or anything like that. So yeah, this was a very, 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 very interesting new moon. But yeah, it's kind of something, or I guess surrounding a little bit, something that I wanted to mention in regards to the energy of that new moon. I was thinking about as I was watching different people being stripped, and like I said, I kept seeing all these weekends, just different forms of the weak links in the chains, being removed. Even somebody, one of the students went through a surgery as well, having something removed. So it was all that Oya, just removing. And the thing is, a lot of times with removals, sometimes we don't look at the other part of it. Sometimes where it's like, okay, well, there's the law of correspondence in the universe. And just like we know that we always say, oh yeah, the wind is coming. She's a destructive force. She's changing everything. Yeah, I mean, yeah, she does that. But the thing is, as I've shared in Grasping the Root of Divine Power, and probably even my Oya show that I did, it was so long ago, I don't even remember everything I said, but Oya is a supplanter of power. So it's not just that she's destroying it and then now it's gone. It doesn't work like, because obviously, you can't destroy energy anyway. But she moves it around like the tornado. I'm gonna take your house and I'm gonna put it over here. I'm gonna take you and put you over here. So even things like inheritances and things like that, people move. Like, I'll give you an example. New moon incident. I forgot this. I totally slipped my mind. Happened also that day. It was a lot of weird stuff. And I'm sure some of you have your own testimony, but someone had called me, who I hadn't seen her in years. One of my old music instructors, he transitioned a while ago. And I never really had formal. He was like actually my only instructor. Let me get that straight. And he was actually grooming me to be his replacement. This was many, 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 many years ago. At the time, he was playing for an R&B artist by the name of Sade. And he was playing for Sade, another one named Mika Paris. And he was trying to get me the Mika Paris gig. But I mean, I wasn't even 18. No, Mika, no, this was, I don't remember how long ago it was. But age wasn't a thing because they were trying to take me on tour. You see how I am with time? Ruined with time. But anyway, so I ended up studying a lot of their sitting in on some rehearsals sometimes when he couldn't make it, or studying a lot of sheet music and stuff. So we became close, and his ex texted me that dawning and said, yeah, you've done so much for the family and so much for me after his transition and before, you two were like brothers and da 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 da. And she said, she just left it at that. I said, oh, well, thank you. Enjoy your day and everything. Be safe. And then later texted me and said, what, how do you spell your name exactly? You get a lot of those when you got a name like mine. I gave the spelling. I was like, what's up? Everything okay? She said, yeah, I'm just working out this living will and insurance information and my pension stuff. She said, because, his children didn't do anything for him. So I just want to make sure. And I didn't ask any questions like, what am I getting, or anything like that, because I wasn't even expecting. It was so, for me, random. But that's a part of that Oya energy. You were going to get the full life insurance policy or the full pension designation. Now I'm either going to move it from you over here or take a portion or whatever. But it's that moving around of things. And a lot of times when weak links are found out or cut out, or people show that they don't have the stamina or the endurance that they promised that they did, there's always going to be some form of replacement, and that's that Oya type energy. It's that energy where, yeah, there's a hole now. So we're going to fill it with something else, because energy is always going to be moved around. You're not just going to have holes in you. Even when you go through heartache and tragedy, we feel like, oh, I've lost so much. Not really. Just what you had has been replaced with something else. And over time, you realize that, but it's already effective immediately. But it takes you a while to get out of your feelings, to come from that place where now you can actually think, you can process thought, So yeah, it was just a very, very, very interesting new moon. And, it had me thinking about some things when I was watching or observing some of these weak links drop off or be removed or whatever. I thought about what happens when it goes back to the Orumula story that I shared some time ago about, when his son wouldn't bow down to him, and like he would hold a conferences and all his sons would show up. And this one son in particular was like, nah, I'm not bowing down to you because we're wearing the same clothes. He said, I have the hat on. He said, I have the brass slippers. I have everything you have. So why should I have to bow down to you? And Orumila was like, all right, cool. Don't do it. Do what you want to do. But, I'm going to take my wisdom away from you. You got this. Go ahead. And of course, you can imagine how the story went. Everything failed and crumbled. And he had to come back and apologize and bow, And that story, of course, is like I said about indiscriminate emulation. Just when you just emulate and copy things indiscriminately without really it being merited, or that wisdom or that knowledge being merited to you. So I was just thinking about that, on that new moon, and looking at certain things that were happening to people, and and what those weak links really were. And think about, sometimes people step out in terms of spiritual work or activism work or social work, cultural work, and they're impatient. They're overly aggressive and certainly impatient. And sometimes we think through our overly aggressive attitude, or maybe even things that we say are overly aggressive, we think that we'll motivate ourselves and to other people into action. But typically aggression is not a motivator. Aggression just turns people off or brings them down. And that happens, you'll run real hard and real fast and you're like, oh, I'm tired now. And now you've become embittered against the process. Sometimes you see that happening in cultural environments or spiritual environments, because people want to quickly and immediately emulate the chief, or the Oba, or the king, or Orumila, or the priest, or the Babalao, or the Ianifa. They can't wait. They want to go out there. They're not ready to be out there. And what happens is that you'll find that they'll start sharing a lot of unwanted opinion and overcasted, we could even say, prophecy, that's not even meant for everyone. So, for example, one of the things that I've always told you guys when you're studying any type of ancient work, ancient book, ancient scripture, whatever it is, that you always want to make sure that you determine the dispensation of the particular work. So you want to know what time period it is, if a time period is even applicable, because a lot of times when you're studying ancient scripture, you're studying ancient mythology, but it gets historicalized. But if it is historicalized, you want to know what time it is, what's going on in the world at that time, who's being spoken to, and why are they being spoken to. Because sometimes you'll read things and you'll apply that wisdom to your own self in your own life, and it has nothing to do with you. It was for certain people at a certain time based on what they were going through. Or a lot of times, because if you're reading things that's giving you a whole lot of what you should do and what you should not do, it's based on the nature and the transgressions of a people at a time. So really diving into that, knowing what you're talking about and knowing what's going on when you're speaking is important. That's a part of the scholarship that we all have to have. So, I was kind of just looking at some of these individuals who were, just falling off. And I'm saying, yeah, these are people who posted and postured themselves up to be something that they're not. And not realizing that your talent in your work will not only bring you out, but it will bring you out. All things are going to come to light eventually. So if you're really not about what you say you're about, it's going to be clear. It's going to come out. You can only steal other people's image or other people's thoughts and ideas for so long. You can't do that forever. It will only take you but so far, because typically when you do that and then someone asks for a clear explanation on what you're saying, you can't explain it because it's not integrated. It's just emulated, and then that's how you start losing people, because you can't talk about this thing from every single angle that you can perceive or one could perceive. You can only speak about it in two-dimensional terms, or maybe even one-dimensional terms. Because why? Because it's not your information. It's not your identity. These are not your ideas. You're stealing. You're a thief. So I was looking at some of the weak links that I noticed that things were happening. Even like one of my youth getting in a fight. I'm like, yeah, because see, you talk tough all the time, but every time there's a fight or there's about to be a fight, you say the same thing. Yo, I'll let my brother, I'll give you to my brother. Yeah, I'm not even going to fight you. I'm going to let my brother fight you. And that's always been your little slick way to get out of fighting. So the other brother, he's good. He scraps. We train all the time, and he does his push-ups and his dips every day. So you make sure he's nice and strong. And the other one, he's a lover. So that discrimination, like I said, it comes to light eventually. And a lot of times we don't realize that when we start coming into this information and this knowledge, that there has to be relevant action that follows. See, we don't realize that divine revelation is followed by divine action. They go hand in hand. You can't just have the revelation and no action. It's not going to work. So your actions are always going to emulate what's going on inside. Now, of course, not emulate, I'm sorry. Your actions are always going to be a projection of what's going on inside. So if you have a divine revelation, then the work you're doing will be divine. If you're having moments where you're stealing information or stealing ideas, then the work you do will feel hollow and parroted. People can feel it when you're doing things or you're saying certain things. They can feel that, nah, this ain't you. Because they feel that clash in that discourse with your true core values and what you're actually trying to do. If that makes sense to you, I'm going to take a call real quick. And then we'll come back to more of this. 615 area code, you're on Foundational Thunderground Thursday. Peace. How you doing? Cool. For sure. Thank you. Mm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep. Mm-hmm. Right. Mm-hmm. Right. 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 Mm-hmm. For sure. You got it, brother. I mean, what you're describing is exactly what's in the air, man. You got it. Yeah, thanks for the call. Yeah. Anytime. Anytime, my brother. All right. Peace. Cool. Yeah, see, sometimes so many things happen in one day or in a couple day period. It's not happening in a vacuum. This has to be a part of a collective energy cycling, something that's just going, and it may not be going on for everybody. It may just be going on for people in a certain frequency. Like the brother said, yeah, like, man, people calling me and just like, I don't be a friend anymore and stuff like that. That type of stuff I'm seeing happen too, and it's just foolishness is being left by the wayside in order to be supplanted with something that makes more sense. That's Oya. Everybody thinks she's sexuality and she's the supplanting of power. You always hear me say that. So that's what's happening right now. Power is being shifted and it's being moved around. And the thing is, you have to be in a space mentally and emotionally where you can accept it and not feel some type of way about it. Like, you might get a job, man. And the day you get hired, you see somebody packing in, walking with a box, escorted by a security guard, and like, oh yeah, we're gonna show you your desk. Just give us a second, Marty's got to finish, cleaning it out. You sitting there waiting, watching somebody clean out the desk, and that's the supplanting of power. That's Oya at work. She tore it. She tore it is like that's bending time and space. So places that you were not supposed to be, because you have to go through a particular process to get there. Oya, her name means she tore. She rips that timeline, and it's like she rips it. It's like a cut and paste job on a computer. She'll rip it and then place it somewhere else and put you like a tornado. Like, where the heck am I? I'm not in Kansu anymore. Or I should say Kansas, right? That's what we all say. Kansas. Kansas is really Kansu. All right. That's why you have that connection with the Sioux River. But I'm meant to do a whole show on Kansas one day, just to state. I'm gonna get to it. This has been real busy. But yeah, that whole idea of Kansu. We're not in Kansu anymore. We're not in Kansas anymore. I just stepped through a hurricane or tornado. Boom. Now I'm over here. And that's what's been going on this season. And like I said, the brother brought up the thing about authenticity. I said in another show. Yeah, people don't realize, and I think I brought this up a couple of Sundays ago. You don't have to be that deep. It's really not necessary. You don't have to be that deep, because the truth is, none of this stuff is really that deep. It's just a lot of it. So what makes a person deep is when they can talk about a lot of it, and you're like, man, wow, you know your stuff. But honestly, if it was that deep, if all of this information was that deep, then strengths that be would not go through such great measures to keep you from it, because they'd say, hey, we'll take it because you ain't gonna figure it out anyway. Here, sure, here's your Orisha, here's your hieroglyphs, here's the real artwork that came out of the tombs. Here, take it. Here's Palo, here's Santeria, here's Lukumi. No problem. We're not going to call it devil worship. None of that. Because you can't figure it out. But it's not so deep. Once you come with a sincere and open heart, it starts to open up to you. And that doesn't happen immediately. And sometimes that's where we get confused. The sad part, a lot of times, again, in our communities, we don't have rites of passage. So with the absence of rites of passage, you just tell yourself when you got it. Oh yeah, I got this. This is easy. A lot of times you don't got it. You don't got what you think you got. So what happens is sometimes, again, it's the indiscriminate emulation. I come into that place where I'm like, yeah, oh yeah, I got it. Oh, so you saying this, and you saying that. Or you read half a book. I give you an example. A lot of times people call me, say, I read your book, great book. I mean, I realized I knew most of the stuff in there, and then they'll ask me a real basic question. You didn't read the book, or you know the book, but you don't understand the book. So I always test them. I'll say something really, and I'm talking about grasping the divine power. I'll say, oh, okay, so you've been doing your OB9 divination. What? OB9? Or they'll say like, oh yeah, like Obi, yeah, those are like Orisha, right? What? So you didn't read the book. Just a few books will make an amazing person out of a person. You don't need that many. 3 good books, and you apply the information in 3 good books, you grow leaps and bounds if you made the information integrated. But so many people have figured out what is a shortcut, because I can just prophesy and speak from my own imagination and people will listen. I don't have to necessarily speak from that divine attachment, from that divine connection. So therefore, if I'm not speaking from that divine connection, then subconsciously and subliminally, I know that I'm not really held to any type of true action, because this word didn't come from on high, quote unquote. It came out of my imagination. You see? And when you speak out of your imagination and people start to listen to that, you're giving them hollow words. You're giving them hollow ideas. There's nothing behind it, because there's no stream of cognition associated with it. See, that's the dangerous thing sometimes. When you're devoted and focused in this actual work, the things that you begin to say do become the things from the Most High. That's why the brother said when he called, he said, yeah, sometimes the things you say hurt, but such and such and such. Well, you know what? You think I'm going to say, I don't care. That's my usual, right? Well, yeah, I don't care. But aside from that, I don't know what I'm like. I can sense when people's energy shifts sometimes, like, they ain't like that. But when I'm really hurting you, I don't know, because I'm not connected. It's not my opinion that I'm saying. You see, it's coming from a different type of place that you may not realize. And it's coming from that place that you've been running from all this time, So you just slapped the title on your forehead and said, well, I don't need that. I don't need to go through the burn of that. I don't need to fix my life. I don't need to clean myself up. I don't need to get some sanity with the relationship with my parents. I don't need to get some sanity in my finances. I don't need to do any of that. I just need to slap this title on my forehead and I'm out here and running. And all I got to do is steal somebody's information and then add a little bit of my imagination to it. And my imagination is usually going to go as far as the logo and the name of whatever it is that we're doing. And then I'm good to go. You see? And the thing is, you start to invest in this concept of lying and delusion. So now when someone like me comes along and says, oh, wait a minute, what you just say? And backs you up, because I don't need to stroke your ego. A lot of us have become so addicted to ego stroking that if the conversation ain't about that, we ain't in it. If you're not going to sit here and stroke my ego and tell me everything I'm doing is correct and I'm right and exact, and I'm not really interested in what you got to say. You see? So like he said, it hurts, but we need it, right? Yeah, you need it, but you already had it. Somebody told you these things. And maybe because it's the medium of a phone call or listening online, and I usually use a slideshow for my videos, so you don't even see me point my finger in the camera like, yeah, I'm talking to you. You know, maybe it's that anonymity and that distance that allows you to actually listen. But if you'll notice, like you said, brother, yeah, we need it. Okay, some of you do know you need it, but go through the archives. Do that. Listen to the people who called in the beginning and listen to who's calling now. Right? Only a few of the same people are calling. You know, I get new callers every strong, especially on Sundays. You got to know the phone lines are packed. But it's new people. Why? Because some people have been chased away by my words. And that's what I don't care about. That's the weak links who have to go. We don't want them around anyway. We want them to go because they're betas. They've figured out how to, you know, they're wolves in sheep's clothing. The sheep, yeah, they're wolves in sheep's clothing. No, let me reverse that. I messed that up. They're sheeps in wolves' clothing. That's what I meant to say. They're sheeps in wolves' clothing. And then when somebody comes and starts poking at the fur and like, what the heck? I see stitches. What is this? Safety pins here? What is this? A zipper? And you start pulling at it, they run away because I'm gonna be exposed. Or if you tell them, look, man, I notice every time you know, howl, that when you open your mouth to howl, that I see a sheep's face inside of your mouth. So I'm assuming that you're a sheep. Listen, I'm not going to tell anybody else, but I just want you to know that I know. And maybe we can be, when we're alone, you can cut that. They'll run again still. I've been exposed. You see? Now, anybody who's that afraid of being exposed is a doggone vampire. They're a parasite. Okay, because parasitical organisms are not going to really be active or be able to live in light. You know, that's where does your mold grow? Dark places, dark, humid places. Why? Because that's a food source. You see? And when that light is absent, anything can grow. You know, you want to grow shrooms, feed them SHIT and put them in the dark. That's how you grow a shroom. And you know what's so deep? That's also how you grow a mindless disciple. Feed them SHIT and throw them in the dark. And you could grow a mindless disciple the same way. When you put them in, when you feed them good, nutritious food and you shine a light on them, then the mushrooms and the fungus have to fall off. And then you find out what you have in front of you there. If you got something good or you got a dud. And a lot of people are going to be duds, believe it or not. A lot of people are not as solid as you might think that they are, or as solid as they profess to be. You see, because they are sheep in wolves' clothing. You know, I used to always say that to a friend of mine. You know, he would always say, you know, when I see you around people, like when we had to do certain type of things, he was like, you have this like shapeshifter thing you do. He's like, because I know you don't like people, you're very antisocial, but then at the same time, you can be very sociable when you need to be, when we're doing something. And I said, well, you got to always remember something. A smile is just a frown turned upside down. You know? So what lies beneath the surface, a lot of people would never know. You can emulate something, you could pretend, you could put your mask on, and a lot of people are so used to the mask, but they don't even look for the stream or the feeling of that connectedness of authenticity that's supposed to come along with it. You see, it's like some people eat meals, everything on a plate from breakfast to lunch to dinner, everything is brown. It goes from lighter brown to darker brown. You put some green on their plate, there, oh no, I'm good. What is this? Kale? How do you spell it? With a K? Kale? That's crazy. I never heard of that. You see, they start talking like you're crazy. This is arugula. Aruga what? Only vegetable they know is potatoes. So yeah, this is a season full of weak links, man. I've told you guys for so long, when I look at the conscious community or the spiritual community, it's like Revenge of the Nerds. They're having their little moment and they're standing up like they're doing something. They ain't doing that. And this new moon, I think it ushered in a new Oya vibration where that wind's gonna blow and lift up the skirts and the fake wolf fur of all the sheeple that are living underneath it. We're gonna take another call. 817 area code. You're on Thunderground Thursday. Lafiani, how you doing? Oh yeah, thank you. Okay. Nice. Okay. Yeah. Oh yeah. Sister Equita. Yeah. Very nice. I love that store. I love it. Yeah.
If it's not under tutelage of a Babalawo, at least to be involved in the community, and I just feel like I'm out in the desert, truly, spiritually.
Right. Well, let me ask this question. I mean, you've been in the tradition for 20 years, right?
Yeah, on and off, yes.
Is it on and off because of the fact that you've always lived in a place where there's no community?
That's part of that's part of the reason. I'm originally from California, and in the Bay Area, it's abundant, to find communities without a problem. And so, at that time, that's the way it was. And I had connections, but once I moved out of California, it's just been that way. And then, of course, with the miracle of technology,
right,
and finding people online, that's where I was running into the problems, because anybody and everybody wants to say they're Babalawo, they're this and that, and come to find out people are not always what they claim to be.
No.
Or you may have some people who may be very sincere in their mind and heart, but they just are not the ones for me. I'll put it that way.
Oh, they just don't have the juice.
And exactly. And so, Chief, I'm kind of like now solitary, just to myself, and learning what I can, absorbing any information for my growth. I listen to you a lot, I just wish I could reconnect or find people of like mind that could be worthy of trust, you know, in my area. Because I'm also in need, not only just for my spiritual growth, but in need of things I need help with as well in my life, you know, with Ifa and the Orisha. So.
Yes. Here's the thing, though. You've been in it for 20 years. It's time for you to be more responsible, because think about this for a second. 20 years is a long time.
Okay.
You see? So
yes,
you've been having that information poured into you for 2 decades. So that means you should know some stuff. So
I should, but I feel like I don't know nothing. You know,
yeah,
I'm
but
always learning.
You know when someone else doesn't know something.
True.
Right?
Yeah.
So you got to know something to know when somebody else doesn't know something. So I'm going to put this on you, the responsibility, because there's people who've been in this for 3 months, 2 months, 6 months, you see, and you're still looking for someone to be under. You need to create a situation where you can help people out, where you could say, well, hey, I'm going to start the group, because how long are you going to take up space? You know, like, this is my thing. Like when we used to do bembe's a lot, I used to, because I had a temple at one point, and I used to always tell people, like, I don't really need to see y'all, because I would run services on Saturdays. So I don't need to see y'all on Saturdays, man. You know, I need to see new people, because y'all been hearing me. You know what I'm talking about. You know, you know what the drumming's like and the food is like, you know, because we used to eat and everything. But you've been here, you done did it.
Beautiful.
You know it's good stuff. So now what about all them other people out there, like, who could use your seat? You know, give up your seat for somebody who needs to be here. So I would say the same thing for you. You don't need to sit up underneath anybody right now. You got a lot of people who will say that they're Babalawo and haven't even been in the tradition for 5 years. You know, haven't been in the tradition.
Wow,
I know
Chief.
People for 2-3 years, they go, they get in it, they save up their money, and now they're Babalawos. And if you can, because you got to realize, for a lot of this, we're creeping and crawling out of the fog, especially the people who have taken the internet back door. So the internet back door, you don't know these people. You just know all of a sudden you were searching on Google or YouTube for Orisha or this or that. Somebody popped up. They had a video that had 9,000 views. You clicked on it. They were sitting there in all white, you know, with a bunch of electrodes around their neck, and speaking in a way that seemed very authentic, with a lot of authority. Yes, sir.
With
a lot of authority, and very matter of factly. And you took that and you said, "Oh man, they know that they're and they might have just got on a year ago." You know, so
see, right when you paused and said, I might have said, I would have said, something ain't right. My spirit don't feel right with that person.
Right.
6 months later, I'll find out I was just right.
That they're dirty.
You're right. There's a lot that I've seen. Exactly. There's a lot I've seen. There's a lot of people I've been through where you're right. I know it's right. I know it's wrong. I know it's authentic based upon, I would say, authenticity coming from Ile-Ife.
Now, how about this? What about that little, that really gorgeous 21-year-old group of sisters who heard a couple of my shows, or, you know, they're in the African studies class in their college, and now that they want to get into this, and they find that person, that guy, and he says, yeah, I got an Ile right here, such as y'all come on by. You know what happens next. Somebody leaves out of there with the big belly. You know, somebody gets the big belly. Now I'm gonna go back to the word I used on you. I'm gonna go back to the word I used on you before: responsibility. Now, I'm not trying to guilt you by saying, "Oh, if a woman gets, you know, if a woman in Texas gets done dirty by a Babalawo, it's your fault." I'm not trying to say that, but I am trying to say that if you've been in this tradition for 20 years, then you may be close to elder status in the tradition. So you have to step up, and you can't just keep still looking to follow. You know, and I'm not saying you got to create a group where you'll be the head of, but a lot of Iyanifas and just Iyas that I know, they may not even be Iyanifas, but a lot of house mothers call me for support of their house. And some of them, I got one house that I support. And the head, she's not even initiated. She has nothing. But it was a similar situation. She was always into spirituality. People knew her and they would come by and ask for little things, ask to interpret. And next thing you know, she had an Elay without even trying to design one, but realized I can't really do the things that people want. So you could create something like that where you create a collective, but you shouldn't at this point looking for someone to come and guide you and lead you. Like at that level, you should know enough by now that you can at least get a couple of people together and say, well, hey, if nothing else, we can sit around some crystals and some candles and talk our problems out. And eventually if we do this long enough, we'll create an energy. Yeah. So just, and I know how your area is. It's kind of a wasteland. It's not much. Pan-African Connection is an awesome space, but there's also, there's a bit of a drought down there as well in terms of people. And part of that is because, some of this is a part of a dying breed's culture. Because the way we present it, I've spoken about this, it's just not interesting to younger people, and then we want them to study under us for 50 years, before they can even cast their own obi and stuff like nobody. It's a new age. So, you're finding people who are 35 and up who are in this, and everyone underneath that is just watching The Secret over and over again and doing the law of attraction because that's just quicker. So yeah, what you have to do, create your own group. That's how you do it. Create your own group.
Yes, it's interesting. That came across my mind today. I said, it kept rolling in my mind. Well, if I can't find the darn group, I might as well create one. I can't be the only one in my area who's searching, who wants to grow. And I don't know everything, but collective heads, somebody knows somebody that knows somebody, maybe, you're right. I could at least start that way.
Yeah.
As far as my personal life, I'm wondering, Baba, if I should come to you or make an appointment, I'll put it that way, for a spiritual, I need some spiritual direction. There's a lot of things going on. And I don't know why I haven't come to you sooner. I'll put it that way.
But you know what? When you feel that you need to and you're ready, I'm here. You get a consultation. Yes, you could join the class. Yeah. I'm here. Yeah. I'm not going anywhere. But here's the thing about it. Don't force it, because if you're not ready for it, I don't want you to do it anyway, because you're not going to listen to anything I have to say. I'd rather when you're nice and primed and ready, and you're like, all right, all the 7 seals are open. Boom, I'm ready. Then we can do some work. We can get down and make some things happen. But as long as you're in a space where it's like, I don't know, because I may say something this Sunday, I may say something tomorrow night where you say, I ain't like what he just said. he said he liked dogs better than cats. I don't know, that just rubbed me the wrong way. I don't know. Who knows? So when you're primed and ready, I'm here. But honestly, you probably should have done that already. I would say that. And you can start your own group. You can start a study group. It doesn't have to be something where people are looking to you for answers that you can't provide. But as far as just basic information, you'd be surprised how many people call me and just like, okay, what's the difference between an Odu and an Orisha? Basic stuff. So, and I've said this before, y'all don't always have to try to be so deep all the time. Sometimes it's the base. You'd be surprised, especially if you've been in for something for 20 years, you'd be surprised how much you already know, but haven't had to regurgitate yet. So, when what's them beads around them people's neck? Why they wear that? So basic questions that you like, man, I haven't thought about that in 20 years. But somebody needs that wisdom, So
Yes, got you.
But thank you for the call, sister.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Chief. When are you gonna be back our way out here?
When we organize something out there. We haven't put anything in place. But it's funny you ask, because I actually have been wanting to go back out there.
Good.
Texas is no big deal. I could care less about Texas. It wasn't really anything interesting there. But I love the sister's store. And I know that sounds crazy for me to go all the way from New York to Texas just to go to this woman's store. But I like the setup. I like that it had 2 floors. The lecture area is huge. It's got its own parking lot. It was very inspiring when I went to the store, and just to look and say, wow, this is cool. Happy. What could be done? So yeah, I'm gonna try to make it back out there. We just have to organize the event. Really, we just got to organize it. But I'll be there.
Okay. All right. Well, I look forward to meeting you in person, and thank you. And you will be hearing from me soon.
For sure.
On a phone call.
All right, sis.
Thank you.
I look forward to hearing from you. Agbo Ato. Odabo. All right, Odabo. Yeah. Responsibility. She has the ability. Now it's time for her to respond with it. Okay. So that's why sometimes, again, things don't work for you. Like I said, I've been looking, I'm not finding anybody. I'm looking for it because it's you. You're the one. You know, I went through the same thing. No, I understand that. I mean, years ago, I remember I was always looking for this great instructor, like this instructor that would just hold me down in every area. You know, anything I would ask them, they would have the answer for it. And not just in Ifa and spirituality, but just, you know, that wise old sage. You know, I always looked for that. And sometimes I made people that who weren't that, just because I felt I really needed that at that time. You know, somebody, because, you know, when you grow up, and a lot of you probably have the same experience, and you know that there's something different about you, and I would venture to say maybe even special. When you grow up with that, you want someone who can make it make sense. You want your Professor X. You know, you're an X-Men, or you're a mutant, quote unquote. You have all these talents and abilities, and you want someone who's been there, done that, can explain it to you and help you to refine them. You know, so you're always looking for that person that you can just totally, you know, bow to and say, okay, I'm in your hands. And sometimes through your searching and you're exploring and you're looking for that, you learn a lot. And in the process of learning, you figure out, I have become that person. Because sometimes in your movement, your sweeping movements of looking and running, people will ask you, hey, what are you doing? What are you up to? And you'll end up having people will see you that way. You know, and some of us are not born to ever have that. Some of us will never have that great sage that will just make everything make sense to us. You know, we just won't get that. It's not fair, but we also were born with some special stuff that other people don't have. So everything kind of balances itself out, you know, and your sages become a conglomerate and a compendium of all the different people in your life that you've ran into or you've met, or who have, you know, different schools of thoughts that you've come through. And then eventually you mash them and mush them all together into one single repeated archive of consciousness that lies in your head. And that becomes like its own person, you see. But it might be old Pastor Willoughby, Monfred, you know, the Catholic priest, you know, Father Flanagan. You know, it might be your 7th grade science teacher. It might be somebody in the gods and earth who was always on the block talking. It might have been the old man who sat in front of the store always asking for change, but, you know, would say something to you that just, or said something once that just stuck with you. And you eventually put all these people together, and now you have this sage consciousness that lives inside of you. So then when people call and ask questions on your online radio show, you're pulling all of this information in, like, wow, you're really wise. How old are you? And they don't realize it's because, no, it's not that I'm so wise. I just got a great memory. I just remember everything that everybody has ever said to me. So because I remember everything that everybody has ever said to me, I am now a walking meiotic hall. I am a walking library. And I'm just pulling. And I know just, I can use my reference system really quick and pull from it. I'm not talking about me. I'm just talking in general, you know? So some of us will never have that great sage. Don't sweat it. You know, the spirits will be there for you, and you'll end up creating that sage subconscious or subliminally. through all the different interactions that you may have. Okay, I'm gonna take another call. We got a couple more on the line. We'll probably end up going into archives. We'll see. Okay, Skype call. You're on Chief Speaks.
Hello.
Hello, Chief. Yes. You're on Chief. No, you're not on Chief Speaks. You're on Thunderground Thursday.
Hello.
Yes, you're on Thunderground Thursday. Can you hear me? I think
Hello, Chief.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, there we go. We got you now.
Okay. Thanks for taking my call.
You're more than welcome.
I'm calling not just a question, but just to send some positive energy your way, and to give thanks. Yes, because I've been listening to your show for about 3 to 4 months, about 3 months now, and it has really been very educational for me. It has really been opening up my eyes to several things. And every time I think I have a question, the next show you always address the question. So I always wonder if you're in my mind reading exactly what it is. So I want to say thanks to you, and thanks especially to the sisters as well. Thanks to the webinar. It was a great webinar. The both webinars I attended were really good.
Good.
And just say thanks all the way from Trinidad, so blessings to you and all your team.
Oh, so give thanks. Give thanks, sister. Thank you. That was the best call I received in a long time. Thank you for this. I appreciate this. For real. I'm serious.
All right.
All right. Enjoy your evening. Okay.
You too.
All right.
Bye.
I like that call. I remember when she called before. She probably doesn't even know I remembered her. But I remember everything that anyone has ever said to me. She called one time before. I remember. It was a long time ago. Yeah. I like her energy. She just put a hex on me. I swear she just did. And I bet you there's a bunch of you who listened felt as she was talking, didn't you just feel better? You see the energy some people carry with them? You just felt better. It was just like she opened up a bottle of jasmine essential oil, and it just okay. Yeah, I feel better. So thank you. Sometimes it's not the words, it's the energy, All right, so we're going to take another call. I think this is Louisiana, 540 area code.
Yes. Yuya?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, this is Tamiko in Danville, Virginia.
And I always get the address. I did it again, right? I always put you somewhere that you're not.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting here laughing like, okay, now he got me in Louisiana.
Every time.
Every time. But I really don't have a question. I really just wanted to get in touch and just touch base and just say thank you.
Oh, give thanks.
Because I've gotten a couple of consultations from you and still listening to the show from time to time, and felt guided to listen to tonight's show. So since you was on the line,
90 seconds.
Just to say thank you.
Oh, thank you.
And
Tamiko.
I appreciate you and your work.
Oh, for sure. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Yeah. All right. Enjoy your evening, sis. In Virginia.
You too.
All right.
Yeah.
I know. I get it right. All right. Peace. I'm getting shown some love tonight. Uh-oh. I hope y'all don't mess around and make something happen to me. Be like, this
60 seconds.
I'm glad that brother's last show, a lot of people called in and, they let him know that he was appreciated. That was the spirits. It was. Don't mess around and make a doggone Dr. Pepper machine fall on me tomorrow or something. All right. I mean, keep it coming, but still. You know what I mean? Keep it coming, but still. All right. 864 area code. You're on Chief's Thunderground Thursday.
Yo, what up, Chief?
Uh-oh. What up? It sound like one of my people.
Man, maintain it.
All right, good.
Oh, you already know, man. You a bro, so
yeah.
I mean, you got a real little brother on your team right now, man. Cause like,
right.
you just,
10 seconds.
Everything you say is lined up with even like the questions or just what you might say prior to the question. It's lined up right with what be going on, man. So I do appreciate it myself.
For sure.
But I had a question because you was talking on Chief Speak Sunday.
All right.
And you mentioned a guy that you came in contact with who's always having to deal with his family. You know, you were saying like he was the butt of the family.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I've been going. Well, that's what I've been going through ever since I got into consciousness. It's been a lot of, you know, picking on. And,
right.
Well, yeah, see if that word, see if this word, you know, just. But long story short, I having a situation, you know, like with my old lady, well, I call her my wife, but we're not technically married, we're just.
I understand.
But you know, my mother, she always seems to promote like negative input about men towards her. And it don't affect her, but it like, I guess it do affect her. You see what I'm saying? Because otherwise she wouldn't keep coming to me about it. But, and I do have a Nifa who's down here in the village, in Buford or whatever. So, and I taught her about it, and she was like, you know, just stay humble about it. But my thing is,
just stay home. Just let her keep beating up on your family. It's all right. Stay humble. Yeah.
You know. So I mean, you know, and because really, I've been humble, but I always have pretty much responded. You know, anytime a situation goes on, and that's why they don't attack me anymore, because it's not just my mother. It's kind of more of people on her side and people on my side, you know, trying to see what she knows, trying to see if we on the same page about stuff, because we don't really get to be around each other that much around the family because we got different careers.
Okay.
But when we do get around the family, no one says anything to me about, you know, questioning what I do or what we got going on or whatever. So, but they always do it when it's just her.
Right.
You know, so do I supposed to stay humble?
Okay.
Or, I know I. Okay,
all right.
Go ahead.
So let's do it. Let's work it like this. Let's do a replay recast scenario. If she was Eve and you were Adam and the family was the serpent, what do you think Adam could have maybe did different to make the outcome different? Because the serpent went after Eve for a reason. Serpent didn't go talk to Adam. He went to Eve.
Right.
He knew how to get in there. Why do you think that was? And Method, don't even worry about what that was, but what do you think could have been done different so they would have been all right?
I guess communicated more, I guess.
Who communicated to who?
Well, as far as in that story, I really didn't see too much communication with Adam and Eve as far as how the story went, but as far as how you putting it, okay. But as far as, you know, how you putting it, you know, I really can't say right now. I mean,
well, what if Adam would have just told Eve or told the serpent, get out of my wife's face before I step on you and kill you? Because I know what you're here to do.
Oh yeah.
When that would have been probably been pretty easy, right?
Yeah, you're right about that.
Then Eve would have said, "What? You can't tell me who I can't talk to. I knew it. We and the serpent was friends before I even met you. We've been friends. You just came around. We grew up together. The serpent's like my brother. That's like my brother. We've been together." Right? That's what Eve would have said to Adam. And then Adam, he would have had two choices at that point, right? Adam would have either said, "All right, I understand that's your homie, lover, friend, whatever. That's your homies. Okay." Or Adam would have said, "Don't give me that. I understand the serpent better than you do because you're not designed to understand the serpent. And it's my job to protect the gates. So serpent got to go. Because I can't be here with the serpent because you're getting now information from multiple sources and all it's going to do is drive you crazy. Because you're not designed to work with two different suns. You're designed to work with one sun. I'm right here. I'm doing it. You see? And all that neck popping and gum popping, you just got to stop. So, I would say in that situation, you're going to have to make some hard choices, man. And just because somebody got the same nose and forehead as you doesn't mean they're your family, So you're going to have to make some hard choices in terms of like just being that proper protection for your family, man. And that protection sometimes means that you're going to be the bad guy. You're going to be despised. They're going to say that you're brainwashing her because, she used to come around. She used to. Yeah, that's going to happen, man. Ignore that because they're the ones who brainwashed anyway. So if that, like they say, that ain't the pot calling the kettle black, So the thing about it is you got to make that hard choice where you establish that family culture. Because I'll give you a good example. I got a good friend of mine. We've known each other. I can't even count how many years, but we have children who are the same age. Both, same sex, same age, everything. So he and I have been close for years. And in all the years I've known him, which is probably about 20 years now, I've seen his wife probably 100 times. I've never said one word to her. She's never said one word to me in 20 years. Never nothing past like a nod, like, not even saying good evening, but just a nod. Just an acknowledgement. I saw you, you saw me. That's that. So he and I, we are like, I think we're so close because we're like some of the only two people in our collective who practice kind of like the same culture. Because I'm the same way. You don't, my friend come to the house, you get lost. Go make yourself scarce. You don't need to be plopping down on the sofa and in the middle of the conversation. Hey, well, all right, fellas, what we talking about? No, we don't do that. Because I understand how easy it is for a woman to be misled. And that's why a lot of times when you guys hear me talk about the community, the first thing I'll say is, and I blame this on the men. Yeah, I know the single mothers and all that, they done ran havoc in the community. I know about the Willie Lynchism and they're programmed and the system and the state takes care of them. So they have to turn against the man. Yeah, I got you. I'm with you. I agree. But it's the man's fault. Because when she started doing all that neck popping in the beginning, he didn't know how to say, listen, either we're going to do this the right way or we ain't going to do it at all. And if we do it your way, this thing is going to come crashing down. And that's all there is to it. So, the same thing with the situation with your wife's family. Like, if she's coming to you saying, you know what they just said to me? What she's saying is, because remember, the woman is the problem reporter. She's saying, bruh, I need a solution. I'm not telling you because I need to vent to you. I want to chit chat. I need you to fix this. And even if in you're fixing it, I'm going to be mad at you for a couple months. You got to fix this. You see?
Yeah.
So if Adam would have did that, see, Adam was soft, man. Adam was, that was the first, well, I mean, he had Lilith, but he was probably so broken up over Lilith. By the time he got with Eve, he was like, yeah, I can't be hurt again. I there's never gonna be another woman again, ever. So, I'm gonna throw away the entire world for some hind, so
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, he was tender. He had a tender heart, tender love. So, that's the thing, man. You got to protect the gates of your house at all costs, man. Don't worry about what anybody says. At all costs, protect the gates of your house, because that's your job. That's your main job. If you keep your woman protected and you keep her culture preserved and you keep it as pure as you can, man, she'll give you heaven. Everything will be beautiful, you know. But if you allow a bunch of external influence and voices and opinions to come up into the mix, she will begin to resent you, because you not only did you not stop it, but now I'm confused, you know. And somebody's going to say something eventually that's going to make sense to her, because eventually her mind is going to start becoming disordered. It's going to start to unravel. And someone's going to say something. She's going to say, yeah, that does make sense. You know, why are we doing all this black, pro-black stuff? And we got children who got to live in the world with all races, you know, and you'll be like, what are you talking about? I never told you we hated any other race. I thought we was on the same page.
Yeah.
Well, we never really talk about it. We don't ever get to see each other. You know, then all the little stuff now will become a thing when it wasn't a thing before. Nah, man, you gotta put the clamps on, man. That's your job as a man. Don't worry about what anybody says. Just like if I came to your house right now, if I came to your house, I would call you Baba. Oh, Baba so-and-so. Yeah, can I sit here? You know, you're the king of the castle. Forget about all that cheap stuff. I don't care nothing about that. You're the king of this castle. That has to be protected and respected at all costs. You know?
Word.
Yeah, man. So that would be my answer to that. All right.
Appreciate that, bro.
Sure.
So I just know, like I say, I mean, I'm like I say, because I already got it planned. Me and her just gonna go, and we just gonna. I'm just ask her. Well, I don't know if I should get her to ask or I should ask, but I think I'm gonna ask why she keep wanting to put negative input about men towards her, as if, you know, as if we coming to her like we have a problem. We're not coming to anybody like we have a problem.
Okay, so then when she says, I don't, but I'm a realist, I'm not saying anything negative.
Yeah.
I'm sharing my experiences.
You're right. Because that's what my mama gonna do. You're right.
Right.
This is exactly what my mama gonna do.
Right. And now, and because it's your mother, you know, she can always play that mother card where you can't really say what needs to be said. And then you're gonna start getting a little emotional, and it's like, man, all right, whatever, ma. Like, you know, but we just trying to get it together. You know, I'd appreciate if you. Well, I'm here to help, baby. I love you, and I love her like a daughter. You know that. I love y'all. I want to see y'all do well. I want to see y'all do right, baby. You know that.
That's it.
Now you stuck. You stuck. You know what I'm saying? So don't ask anything, man. You a man. You a grown man. You know what I mean? I don't. Mother, grandmother, whatever. I'm a man now. You got to respect me as that. I'm that before I'm your son at this point. Once you get to a certain space and you're going through your rite of passage or you're coming into manhood, you function from that perspective. You know, I love you because you're my mother, but you're not going to get away with extra because you're my mother, because you might have a sickness inside of you where you resent men or you don't like men. I'm not going to help to continue and fuel that sickness. No, you're going to have to learn that, well, hey, that same man that you dislike out there in the world is a man that I am. And if that means that you don't want to be motherly to me anymore, that's fine. But my relationship or my family is more important than you. Right. And the contract that we share as mother and son is a contract that I had to agree upon. I don't have to treat you like a mother. I don't have to do that. I don't have to respect you. That's something that I agreed to do based on the contract that you originally implied when I was an infant. But if you cease to behave like a responsible mother, I will revoke the contract. Now, I don't know if you got that in you because you know, you from down in the southern spot. So, you know, y'all more polite. But
I about got to that though, bro. I ain't even gonna I ain't gonna lie about it, man. I really have, but you know, like I said, I am gonna stay as humble as I can about it. But I don't get to the point where I'm about ready to move and all.
Instead of, hey, look, I'm gonna need you to stay about my relationship, all right? Just say it like that. You start asking questions, she's gonna start playing mind games. Don't forget, man, your mother's smarter than you. Mother, they're brilliant, man. They play dumb. How you work this thing, baby? And you know, they play, but they smart. You know, she's smarter than you, so don't let her. Because remember, the women got more of that Kundalini energy, man. They serpents. They always finding the angle. We come like big dumb dogs. After church, you think me and you could have a talk about what? What you want to ask me now? Then that's when you start getting nervous. Your armpit starts. No. I mean, it could wait. It could wait. Now she already know you up to something. She already gonna mess you up. So when you get out of church, you know, you go to talk. Oh, baby, before you bring up what you wanted to say, you remember that money I lent y'all? When you was trying to start that business, that earthworm farm, and it failed. Listen, baby, you pay me back when you get it. Don't worry about it. I know I told you to pay me back. It's okay. I know y'all really struggling, and I'm here to help you. Okay, I'm here. I've always been here to help you. When I was in labor with you for 36 hours, I was helping you. All right. So I'm here for you, baby. Now, what is it you want to talk about? What you want to talk about, mama? You see, they play them games. You got to cut through all that and say, look here, man. Don't be talking to my wife about that stuff, man. I don't appreciate it. Who are you talking to? I'm talking to you. Don't talk to my wife like that. You trying to destroy my household. You know, you can't do that. Come on now. You know you can't do that. Knock it off. All right. Pass the potatoes. You know, and just keep it going. You know, but you got to feel it. It's got to be righteous. When you say it to your mother, man, don't bring the conversation up to you can talk about it righteously. You got to feel it when you say it. It's got to be the truth. It can't be like, now, mama, you know, it can't be all like Tyler Perry acted out. If you say, mama, listen, it's got to be, that's what it is. And then she'll respect you. She'll say, oh, okay. All right. You okay, you bad enough to poke your chest out and stand up to me now, then okay, I can respect that. But all this sideways stuff, she gonna beat you at that. Women always win at that. We're not good enough at that. Don't even waste your time. All right?
Yeah, you're right.
Cool. All right, brother.
Appreciate
Thank you for the call.
I'll be contacting you.
For sure. For
all
sure.
Right.
Take care, my brother.
Yeah.
Peace.
You too, bro.
Yeah, I told you, family's the worst thing going. They're the ones that when we start talking, we can't get our thoughts ordered because there's so much history and emotion behind what it is that we need to say to them, or what it is that we need to repair, or what it is that we want to talk about that we don't like that they're doing to us. You know, and sometimes it's really hard to speak about it in a way that's coherent, because what we're ultimately saying is, why do you hate me so much? That's what it really is. Why do you hate me? If I'm practicing a culture and I'm expanding and I'm growing and I'm learning and I'm happy, and I don't spend time criticizing what you do, why is it that you feel it's so necessary to let me know that I'm not doing anything? To let me know that I'm wasting my time? You know, to let me know that this is foolishness. Why do you hate me? Because these things that I'm doing are an expression of who and what I am. So it's a deeper conversation. And then you might have to hear your parents say, I do hate you. You're right. Now that I think about it, I don't like you very much. I've always liked your sister better than I liked you, because, you know, the conditions around your father didn't want you. Even though we had you, we got married, it's a shotgun wedding. So, yeah, I've always had a certain feeling. Or you look just like my father and act like my father. My father was real harsh and abusive. You know, don't always assume because they're your parents that they love you. Sometimes they don't. They don't. But if you know you 30, 40, 50 years old, get over it. Sometimes it just goes down like that. You know, you got crappy parents, especially in America. They usually are crappy. You know, this is always going to be an ongoing problem. And somebody has to stand up with strength and surety and say, you know what, I love you, but I'm doing something over here. And if that means that physically I can't be near you, then I'm willing to do that. But I'm not going to sacrifice the freedom that future generations can have just because you want to limit me to the ceiling of your last place of ascension, or the ceiling of your own awareness. That wouldn't be fair to anyone, especially the children and the ancestors that are beckoning to come back through me. That wouldn't be fair. So everyone's got to stay exactly where you're at, because you have reached the pinnacle of wisdom. We can't learn anything new. We can't go beyond your station. That doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense at all. You know, and it's great that you guys love your parents, man, but sometimes that love is not real love. It's fear, you know, and it's fear sometimes that you're going to lose resources. Some of you live with your parents, or they're still helping you out and supporting you and things like that. And they may have even told you, like, I'm doing this. If you get into that other stuff, I'm cutting you off. Be a revolutionary and take it there. If your ancestors are so great and these Orisha that you keep spitting all this alcohol on and blowing all this smoke in their faces and all of that, if they're so great, then you go out there and walk off into the sunset and say, this is what I do. This is what I do. This is what I be. And I don't have to allow myself to be disrespected or to be shown a lack of reverence for anything that my ancestors have put down on this planet. It doesn't have to be crapped on by someone who's a victim to programming. I'm not going to allow it. You're not going to disrespect my ancestors. You're not going to disrespect my culture. You're not going to disrespect the journey that it took me to get from where you dropped me off to where I am now. I'm not going to have that disrespected and disregarded just because you're uncomfortable with having a child that doesn't feel like your child. Maybe I'm not that much your child and the other ones are more your child. Sometimes it happens like that too. Some children come through and they choose that environment because that's what they need to grow. But you'll find that you may have one family member and that's the only family member that you relate to. Or you relate to your mother, but your father's like a foreigner, or vice versa. You just, the ideas are so alien, the energy is so alien because you're not that much of their child. Sometimes you're a stowaway in the family line because you needed that to come through, or you had to come through immediately, and the person that you were supposed to come through aborted you. Sometimes it goes down like that, and you're like, man, I got to get down there because this what I'm getting ready to do is based on it's time sensitive. Year 2015, 16, I'm supposed to say this to this person. It's like quantum leap. So you quantum leap into a family, you do what you got to do, and then sometimes you separate. You may find by 19, 20 years old, you don't spend much time with your family. You just leaped in, So nah. And the relationships, going back to the whole idea of weak links. I got a very heavy tongue again tonight, but weak links, that's the relationship with those type of family members, because that's not the stuff that you should have to think about. That's not the stuff that should be on your mind. I want to do this ritual, but what is so-and-so going to say, and things like that. If you're living the culture, then you're going to have to make some serious sacrifices. And sometimes that sacrifices, you may have to go live in a shack somewhere just so you can be freed up. Well, at least I can put up whatever masks and pictures and candles I want here without hearing about it. Or you get yourself to a place where your family finally sees you as an adult. Finally. And if they see you as an adult, then there's really nothing to talk about. Yeah, this is what I do. That's right. I'm an adult. And adults in the world do all different things. So a lot of times it's just an issue of that, man, garnering that level of respect. We got to function. And it's just like the sister called earlier, where I said, you got to be more responsible. You 20 years into this, you're an adult. You got to function like an adult. You can't look for someone to, I understand if you may need some guidance, and we all need guidance and whatnot sometimes, but as far as if you're finding something consistently, do something about it. Stand up and do something. That's what anointing is. I may be anointed to be a leader. So whenever I'm in a situation, I'm going to, and I see something needs to be done and it's not being done, I'm immediately going to start pointing around the room. Okay, listen, you do this, you do that part, and I'm going to do this part, and then we're going to get this thing done. Let's go. And if people are not doing it as a leader, then you got to jump in and say, oh man, you can do your part. All right, get out of the way. Go. Bye. I got it. Hand that to me. And sometimes your shoulders get wider and wider and wider and wider because you're carrying all these things. And next, look like you got one of them Colonel Abrams jackets from the 80s, the big shoulder pads in it, Debbie Gibson and all that. So that's the thing, taking on that anointing and that mantle may require that some people you're going to have to cut short because they can't be in your life. And at the same time, you have a life that reflects certain things. Your environment has to reflect enthusiasm towards what it is that you're doing. It has to reflect motivation towards what it is that you're doing. And for those of you who are hypersensitive about hearing the truth, it doesn't mean that you're surrounded by people who won't tell you the truth. Like if you're just emulating something and you're full of S, or you're stealing somebody else's information, they may tell you like, this ain't you. that doesn't mean that that's not motivating, because it should motivate you towards doing what is right, towards being original, being authentic, and really doing what it is that you do greatest. Some people can't do anything more than emulate. They're so far and detached from their original root that they can't find their way back home. They've been ego tripping for so long that they done lost their luggage and everything in the map back home. They just on a permanent ego trip. They've created these false personas and egos of themselves, and they're gone. So all they can do at this point is copy. That's all they got left in them. But then some people don't. You see, when I talk to people, if I know you got more in you and I can see through you, because I got that eye in the middle of my big forehead, I see it. I say, nah, I'm not accepting that from you. You can do better than that. I'm not accepting that from you. You can sit here, you call anybody else's show and talk garbage, and and I'm doing this and I'm traveling to the 6th dimension. You ain't doing none of that. Get up out of here. Go call somebody else. They'll say, wow, see, that's beautiful. Ashe. Because you know, Ashe is a buzzword, even if you're not dealing with Yoruba tradition. And nobody says it right. They say Ashe. You ain't even saying it if you ain't got the tones right. But you know, so I'm just saying, you know, we have to look in the mirror. Like I always talk to you guys about mirror therapy, man. And you know, if you're an adult, act like one. If you're a man, be one. If you're a woman, be one. Irregardless of what's going on around you. Because you know what that's called? That's called peace. Yes, P-E-A-C-E, peace. Like when I say Hotep, right? That's what peace is. It's maintaining your conscious identity and character in the face of all chaos, confusion, and disarray. And look at the world. Just look at the world. Turn on the news right now. I don't know what time the news comes on, wherever yet. I don't watch it. Whenever time the news comes, I think 7 and 10 or 11, something like that. But what are you going to see? Confusion, disarray, blah, 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 blah. Can you still hold on to your spiritual identity and life purpose despite that? That's peace. When the car breaks down on the side of the road and you have no money for the tow truck, you were traveling with nothing, you got a negative amount in your bank account, and state trooper pulls up behind you and you don't know if your tags are good on your car because you don't know if you paid your insurance this month because money's been a little low. Do you still know who and what you are? Do you still have your identity? When the last 3 people you dated, you know, are with you and then they never call you again, can you still say, this is who I am? This is what I am. This is my life purpose. And I'm aware of my destiny. And no matter how bad this situation is or how much this hurts, I know the way I end. And this ain't it. Because my purpose dictates that I'm supposed to do this. And I've grabbed hold of that destiny. So whatever fates occur in between here and that destination, it's okay. Because I'm still that person at the finish line. No matter what's going on, I'm still that guy at the finish line. You see? Now that's peace. That's when you really have peace. You can't have peace when you got oppressive parents, when you got oppressive friends, and not are they just oppressive, but they bully you to the point that now your ways and actions change because of their judgment toward you. Then you can never have peace if that is your reality. All right. All you player haters and players. I want to thank you all for listening to Thunderground Thursday. You know, I'll be right back tomorrow with more Foundational Friday. I gotta get some shorter, like I'm gonna start using acronyms. Thursday will be TT. Nah, I could say if I say TT, I'm gonna mess that up. It's gonna come out different. T squared, T squared. Yeah, it's corny. Thunderground Thursday, Foundational Friday, because the titles are so long, I keep messing it up. But you know, I'll be back tomorrow, and we got one last call that I'm gonna get on for calling at the last minute. 203, you're on Thunderground Thursday.
Good afternoon. How are you?
Good night. I'm very good. Yeah. What's going on? You all right?
Yes, nighttime. Yes, I'm fine. It's just that I'm calling because I enjoyed your show.
Thank you.
This is my first time calling in. And God was showing me something very spiritual about you.
Mm-hmm.
Is it okay if I share it with you?
Sure.
Okay. The Spirit of the Lord was showing me that the anointing and where you are right now, God is getting ready to put you like on a supernatural highway. Start getting your suits and your clothes and everything together because He's getting ready to let you travel from one state to another, okay?
All right. I appreciate that.
And He's also showing me a house.
Mm-hmm.
It's a house that He's getting ready to bless you with too. And also with your business and being on the radio show, God is going to make you very popular. You're going to become very popular. And also too, I kept saying the move, and it's going to be a move for the better. Okay.
What was that last thing you said?
And also too, I see you moving.
Oh, okay.
And when you move, it's going to be a move for the better. Okay. And also too, he was showing me something with the financial loan that you may be thinking about, and He's going to bless you to get it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And He's also showing me 2 letters. I see you going to your mailbox. And I see 2 letters coming to you, and these letters are good news. And I just want you to keep up the work that you're doing because there's a lot of people out there that's very hungry and really struggling for the right things to do. And He has placed you and ordained you in the place where you are today.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate
that. And excuse me. And I really enjoyed the show tonight. Just keep doing what you're doing, and more things is going to be coming to you.
All right. I appreciate that. I received that in the spirit in which it was given. All right.
And I want you to have a blessed night, and I'll be tuning in to your radio station.
All right. Beautiful. Thank you, sister. And you as well.
Okay.
All right. Good evening. Good night.
Good night.
All right. Okay. Beautiful. So that was a good, I'm glad I picked that call up. That was a good closing out. You all heard it. You all heard it. And everybody who's going to hear, everyone who's going to listen to the show in the archives, you're going to keep hearing it, keep hearing it, keep hearing it, and keep hearing it. And you're going to make it true. You're going to make sure I get those things in the mailbox and I get another house and all of the other stuff that was shared and that is lined up and waiting, because you're going to hear it. And every time you all hear it, there's going to be a mental image that comes up. Boom, 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 boom. And it's going to stack the energy together, the energy until it's just going to be there. Yeah. Sometimes it works like that too. It's different ways it works. But thank you. Thank you for that call. Thank you for everyone who called in. I got some nice feedback. You know, you haven't heard me say it in a while. Yeah, you know, you do the shows, you don't get any feedback, you don't know what's going on, who's out there listening. I can't say that anymore, because if I said that, I'd be inconsiderate and ungrateful, because really there's not a day that goes by that somebody doesn't share something. You know, you not always on air, but, you know, through the email, customer service email, or a comment on a video. Sometimes it's just like, thank you, I needed that. That's cool too, you know. So I would be ungrateful if I said at this point, yeah, you know, I'm just talking into the darkness, because a lot of people do have, especially tonight was a grand showing of that. In my opinion, like I told you guys before, it doesn't take much for me. You know, it could be two, three people calling. Thank you. I'm like, oh man, see, look at that. You know, it doesn't take much. But yeah, so I can't say anymore that I can't say people are not contributing. People have been calling, sharing their success stories and just their stories, period. You know, I can't say that people haven't been trying to support and help out the work that I knew was doing, because we have had people who have sent offerings in to help with our African Initiative project. People have sent in offerings for Sadulu House to help us there. So can't say that, you know. So I have to honestly say that there must be some kind of community coming together here. You know, it's happening really, really on a subtle really soft, gentle level, but it has to be something coming together here. I'm not going to say it is, because then that's, what happens next, right? Then I'll be in the newspaper. Or, yeah, what happened to Chief? Yeah, they raided his house and found blah, 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 or planted blah, 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 or Chief was somewhere in a rated X movie theater and da, 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 da. That's what happens next. Once you get pegged as that person, we gotta get rid of him. We gotta get rid of him. Oh, he's not one of those fluffy, love and light spiritual guys. Oh no, he might actually activate people to their true selves, and then they're gonna realize, what the heck am I doing? I ain't doing this anymore. I could live off of my spiritual knowing wisdom. I don't mean by just going out there doing readings and stuff, people, but I'm learning now to commune with nature and plants and oils, and man, I can boycott certain things that I thought I needed before I don't need. I can stop boycotting my life purpose. So, yeah, I'll just keep being the guy on the radio, and we're not going to use that community word too much, but I think something's happening on a real subtle, energetic level, I want to urge you all, too. We have another webinar coming up. The oils webinar was... I was almost going to use a street colloquialism. I was going to say the oil webinar was dope, but I scratched that. It was really, really, really engaging. It was a great webinar. For those of you who attended, you know what I'm talking about. There was a lot of information given in it, and I gave my part, my the rituals and stuff, but the actual information, people who attended it, they really, really, really like. You heard some feedback tonight. It was an awesome webinar. Sister Kim did a wonderful job. The sisters have the webinars, they just have they've done excellent. Sister Felicia had did some prior to Sister Kim, and they're doing a wonderful job with them. We have the alchemy one coming up next, which is like that's like the giddy one. That's the one that we're all like, ooh, I can't wait to the alchemy one. That's like the big, I don't want to say Super Bowl webinar coming through, but that's the big one that we're excited about. Not that we weren't excited about the other ones, but the alchemy one, like I said, you won't really understand the alchemy one unless you go to the other one. So that's why it's even more exciting. So we're working on that now. And, you can always go to anunation.org to RSVP. And we'll also have an RSVP and more information of what we're going to put up a post on Sadulu House. So you guys can also register over there and everything. And I know some of you had some tech issues. Let me just, before I get off, share with you. If like some people had scheduling issues, they forgot the webinar and went and did something, and they're like, okay, I missed the webinar, but can you send me the video or whatever? No, we're not doing that. Just so you know, if you miss it, you miss it. Don't miss it. Okay, if you know it's coming on, make sure you have a good internet connection. That was another issue with a couple of people. Were like, oh, I'm in the subway riding home from work and I can't get on the webinar. I'm on my phone. Well, come on. Stop acting up all the time, everybody. Come on. Don't make me have to charge $200 for the webinars. And if I do that, you won't act up. I know you won't. You'll make sure that you are home on time. You're sitting there with your pen and paper, and you are tuned in and ready to go. All right. So, and I'm not going to charge $200 for the webinar. I mean, but and inflation is real. So, we'll see what happens down the road. But, no, we're not going to rebroadcast the webinar for those, who just missed it or whatever. Scheduling things, it doesn't work like that. A webinar is like a lecture. But it's convenient because you're home and you're just sitting on your computer or your phone or your tablet. But no, it's not. You didn't buy a DVD or video on demand. We have video on demand. If you want to go to alphaomegastore.com, click the videos link. We have videos on demand that you can buy there. You can rent them for a couple of days, or you can buy the permanent ability to stream them or download them. Okay. So that option is there. Also, when there's a webinar, if you have questions, some people were sending questions like all over the place. we have a customer service email box that you can send things to, but like some people were like putting comments on videos and stuff like that, like, hey, what's the login and this and that. We can't see all of that at the same time while the webinar is going on. It's hard to present a webinar, speak, and at the same time scour the internet for questions that people have. So try to get it focused in one space when that's going on. Okay. So, but next webinar we said we're going to do a little different. We'll start a little earlier so people can figure out if their connection works or whatever, and that whole rigmarole. All right. But again, I want to thank you all for listening. This has been a fun show and an encouraging one. I might even download this one myself and listen to it. I don't listen to my shows, but this might be one I listen to over. All right. But again, thank you all for calling in. Thank you for all the great comments and all the great calls. All right. So until next time, I am Chief Yuya, Chief Jegna of the ANU Spiritual Order and head instructor of the Sadulu House. And you have been listening to Thunderground Thursday. I'll be right back tomorrow, 9 p.m. Eastern, for Foundational Fridays. Okay. I look forward to speaking to you.